Welcome back. We have a new member of the team, as promised. Introducing you now to Jonathan Breitenstein. And Jonathan, we were talking about the standard of care. And I was saying you hear a lot about this, about the standard of care in a senior facility. So detail that, exactly what that means, and how commonplace is neglect.
Standard of care in Kentucky is really defined by the professional relationship between the licensed professional and the actual patient. In those matters, you look at a standard of care for nurses, how a nursing in a home health facility or in a visiting nurse, what they do and what they appreciate about the patient and how he is treated or she is treated. With physicians, it's the same way. Most of the facilities in Kentucky, they're licensed and regulated by state and federal law. And in those instances, there are regulations that define the standard of care, but you need to speak with actual physicians who can define for you what the standard of care is. And that means it's just like every other profession. What do you look for and how do you act in a situation with regards to a patient?
All right, very well articulated. So I'm just curious here, and I hope you guys don't mind if I ask him this, is if you do have a senior loved one in a facility now, what kind of things should you look for? What kind of questions should you ask?
The one thing you want to do is build relationships with the nurses and with the practitioners in the facility. You do need definitely to make regular and unscheduled visits. You want to see firsthand how your loved one's being treated, whether that's mom, dad, or uncle. And that can be a lot of work for a lot of people, and it's so good in the larger families when you can spread that around. But make the visits, get to know where your loved one is physically, where they are mentally, so that you can see for yourself how they might change over the course of weeks and over the course of months.
All right, Larry, how does Jonathan work as far as in tandem with you and Elder Advisors and your mission?
Well, the last statement that Jonathan Breitenstein, the attorney, said was actually quite good, because a lot of times families will ask us, well, what can we do to ensure mom or dad's level of care, make sure, because, they sometimes hear stories and stuff like that. And I don't really care where mom and dad are at. For me, with the family, because I'm not the attorney, Jonathan, on that, and it's much like you were saying a moment ago, is just visit mom and dad, because the staff know who's being visited and who's not. Whether it's 2 children or 10, they know who's being visited and who's not, and who's being taken care of. So I think it just kind of keeps everybody on their game, knowing that mom and dad's being visited and checked regularly. That's a non-legal answer, because I'm not the attorney, but I mean, that's a short version of what you said a moment ago on the legal part. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement, and I wanted to bring up one thing. A lot of people don't understand about medications, and that's a big one. It's always good to have somebody, a physician or an attorney, that you can reach out to and you can talk to them and get a list of what your loved one, what they are taking on a daily basis, what their intake of fluids is, what their caloric intake is, and monitor that so you know what is actually being done appropriately or it's not being monitored.
And that's been really tough, I think, probably too, with the whole COVID situation this last year, being able to get in and actually visit with your mom or your dad or your sibling to make sure that they are getting the care they need, because Jonathan couldn't be more right. You got to show up. You got to show up at different hours. The more family you can have help you, the better. But it really doesn't matter from what I see, what facility they're in. What matters is how much attention is the family giving, because the more the family is there, the better care I think they often receive from the healthcare workers.
Steve, obviously what you do and what Jonathan does they're totally unrelated, but then in some instances maybe they are related. Are there times when your side of the elder law is also taken care of by what Jonathan does? You guys work together often, I guess, is my question.
Well, absolutely, because there are things that I do that I'm sure Jonathan, doesn't know how to do, and I can guarantee you there are things that Jonathan does that I have no clue how to do. So if I'm working with a family and there are some potential issues at a facility, I obviously need Jonathan there to help me walk through the understanding of what's the current status with the law. What can we do outside of litigation? How can we just fix it? Because that's what my clients are looking for, is how can we get the issue fixed? And with Jonathan's help, it's invaluable.
You know what all this is pointing to, Larry Weiss, is that with Elder Advisors, it's turnkey, regardless of the issue, whether it's, Medicaid or whether it's an elder facility, if it's neglect, what you guys take care of it.
Well, we do, and then we triage what the problem is. Right now, the biggest problem families have right now is placement, because what Jonathan Breitenstein and Steve Langdon are talking about of more once mom and dad are in care. The bigger challenge families have right now is getting mom and dad placed in the first place. I was talking to the gentleman and kind of squeezed him in at 8:30 this morning. Both his parents were in a car accident. They're both at U of L right now. So they both had different injuries. So now we're looking at getting stabilized and getting transitioned to rehab. We may be looking at long-term care. And that's where Autumn Schneider, who's basically become a rising superstar for us for placement, because we have to make sure that they're placed at the right community, that we can transition to benefits without going broke in a nursing home. So that's the big challenge families have, is if mom and dad are at the hospital, they're getting stabilized so they can get transitioned to long-term care. Hopefully it's at a community that will allow us to transition to benefits so they don't go broke in a nursing home. But that's the big challenge families have right now, is because Autumn's working under a lot of what they call no admits at nursing homes right now. We're kind of coming out of the winter fog. Spring is in the air. We're doing our workshops in March, but people are coming out, but we've still got to deal with placement. I'm finding a lot of the communities are now opening up. I mean, Autumn can actually go to communities. The administrator may come out in the lobby now, or maybe outside, but at least they're having human contact to pick up a check or talk about things. But yeah, at the beginning, we got to get them placed. And if they're not placed, then we can't really affect our plans. I just met with the family yesterday. We started a plan in Indiana. And the family had been kind of slow walking. Steve was kind of working with the family, and they were asking about finances now. I said, until mom's placed, we can't do anything. So finally they got placed. Now the law firm is going to pick up the baton and run with it across the finish line, because they do have to be placed for Steve to do his magic.
Well, we all hope that things get back to normal soon. If you want a one-on-one appointment with Elder Advisors, Larry Weiss and his team, you can do that. However, the workshops, we're cranking back up.
Coming back.
Yeah, if you would, Larry, tell them about the next workshops.
Yeah,
and how
I
they work.
am giddy with excitement. Monday, Zach, is that okay? Okay, Kentucky, the best cameraman behind the cameraman is Zach. Monday night, March 8th, 6 o'clock at the Hilton Garden Inn at the airport. And, of course, Tuesday morning, March 9th at the Hampton Inn on Broadway in Clarksville, just right off of Veterans Parkway. We're already having people RSVP, and we're not even telling people about the freeworkshop.com login right now. It's kind of top secret, freeworkshop.com. But you can always go to elderadvisors.com or 855-LARRY55. Learn more. If you don't wait to the workshop, you can always call us for a free consultation, because like Steve Langdon says, it's good news.
Yeah, it is good news. And I think it's important to point out that these workshops, again, I know freeworkshop.com, it goes without saying, they are free, and there's a Q&A session. So,
absolutely.
So if you have a question specific to you and your family, you guys are happy to field those, right?
Right. And I do want to thank Jonathan Breitenstein from coming out today on the attorney part, talking about, what was it, quality of care, level of care?
You can call them anything you want to.
Jonathan,
Larry.
come on, baby. You're the superstar attorney.
Standard of care.
Standard of care. That's why you're the lawyer, and I'm not. And elder law superstar attorney Steve Langdon from CLLB, because it does take a team to protect assets so you don't go broke in a nursing home.
All right, once again, the news is good, courtesy of Elder Advisors. Don't go broke in a nursing home. We'll take a little break on Wave 3. Listens Live.
Hurt in a car?